I thought it might be helpful if I just kind of walked through and um, kind of talked you through what this is going to look like with simplifying with square roots, okay? And this should be closed captioned, so hopefully you can kind of read it and pause, and maybe this makes more sense, okay? So let's start with, say, the square root of 24, okay? If you have the square root of 24, what you're doing is you're looking at the 24 and you're trying to break it up into parts that can be square rooted. So what if I changed this into the square root of 4 times the square root of 6, right? Because 4 times 6 is 24. So the square root of 4 times the square root of 6 is the square root of 24. Well, the nice thing about this is that I know the square root of 4 is equal to 2. The square root of 6 doesn't have a square root, so I can leave this as 2 times the square root of 6. So the square root of 24 now simplifies to be 2 times the square root of 6. This is essentially what the factor tree is doing, but some people prefer to think about it this way in terms of square root numbers that you can make, okay? So let's look at another one. What about, let's say we have the square root of 98, okay? So you kind of have to think about what goes into 98. Well, off the top of my head, I know that 98 is 2 times 49, okay? And I also know that 49 has a square root, so I'm going to go with the square root of 98 is the square root of 2 times the square root of 49. The square root of 49 is 7, so now I have the square root of 2 times 7, or to write this correctly, it'd be 7 square root of 2. Maybe seeing it that way makes a little bit more sense for you. I'm not sure. Let me pick one that's maybe a little more interesting. Let's do the square root of 48. Okay. So 48 is kind of an interesting one because it has a ton of different factors that you could use, and it's hard to think of the biggest square root that goes into. So I always kind of start with my first square root, which is 4, and see if 4 goes into it. Well, 4 does, right? 48 is the square root of 4 times the square root of 12. But now I'm looking at 12, and I know that 4 also goes into 12. So maybe I should rewrite this as the square root of 4 times the square root of 4 times the square root of 3, okay? Because 4 times 4 times 3, or 4 times 12, is what gives me the original 48. Now, square root of 4 and square root of 4 are both 2, so now I have 2 times the square root of 3, and 2 times 2 is 4. 4 square root of 3. Now, if you wanted to think about it, back to the original, let's do a different color. The square root of 48, I could have said it was the square root of 16 times the square root of 3. If you know that 16 times 3 off the top of your head, you know that that is equal to 48. A lot of people don't, and that's okay. It's okay to break it into smaller chunks and then kind of work from there with the numbers that you're very familiar with. Either way, you end up with 4 square root of 3, okay? So there's kind of different processes or different paths you can take to get the answers for this. I hope that kind of helps. Take a look at this, and if you still have some questions, please let me know.